Here's a nice approach on how to make the most out of the 3 major chords inside the major scale. For this example, we're playing over B major. So first and foremost, I'm going to visualize some major triads all over the fretboard, right? So I'm going to think about this root position, strings to 3 and 4, B major, to this first inversion, B major, again strings to 3 and 4, and to this root position, B major, strings 3, 4, and 5. So with that information, I'll start by playing the root with my thumb, 7th fret of the lowest string, and then I'm going to go to this root position, B major triad. From here, I'm going to visualize this first inversion triad, but first I'm going to hammer to that G sharp note, that's the 6th of B. So after playing that G sharp, back to that 5th and root on the G and the B string, and from here I'm going to visualize this root position, B major, right? Strings 3, 4, and 5. But this time I'm going to start by barring the 11th fret on the D and the G string, that's the 9th or 2nd and the 5th, and I'm going to hammer onto that major third. And from here I'm going to go with my pinky to the root. So far I have this. From here I'm going to go down on the neck to this second inversion, B major, strings 3, 4, and 5, and then I'm going to superimpose the 5th chord, in this case F sharp major, right? Now the 5th chord with the bass on the 1 chord is going to give me the root, the 5th, the major 7, and 9. Now I'm going to keep going down the neck and think about this B note, right? 2nd fret of the A string, right? I'm going to think scalar for a second. I have the root, whole step up I have the 2nd, whole step up I have the 3rd. All I'm doing now is sliding from the 2nd to the major 3rd, and then I'm going to play this 2nd inversion, B major, that's the 1 chord again, strings 2, 3, and 4, and I'm going to hammer to this 4 chord, E major. So that second bar I have this. Now for the second repetition I'm going to start exactly the same. Here I'm going to think about the pentatonic scale, right? Now, if we're in the key of B major, the easiest way to find that lovely first position minor pentatonic is just to go half step down to the 7th note and a whole step down to that 6th note, the relative minor. And from here I'm going to play the G sharp minor pentatonic, right? So G sharp minor is relative to B major. Now the only move you need to do to make it major is just start from the 1 chord, in this case B, and I have the B major pentatonic with exactly the same box. So I'm going to use some notes of the box, and I'm going to slide to this double stop. That's the 3rd and the 5th of B major, right? I can visualize the first inversion B major, but I'm just going to use the G and the B string. Now let's take this concept a little bit further by using exactly the same 3 chords, but this time we're going to be soloing. Now here's the thing, we're barely going to be using scales, we're mainly going to be playing the triad shapes. Now something to bear in mind, the notes of these 3 chords are actually going to give us the 7 notes of the major scale. Let's go half step up to the key of C to try to understand this concept a little bit better. So now C major, we're just half step up from B, right? But it's still a really comfortable place on the guitar. Compared to B major, we have no sharp, so it's easier to understand it theory-wise. So now let's play those 3 triads and compare them to the C major scale. We're going to realize that we have the 7 notes, right? So let's start with C major, the 1 chord. I have the root, the 3rd, and the 5th. I already have 3 notes, I'm missing 4 notes. Then I'm going to go to the 4 chord, right? I have the root, the 3rd, and the 5th of F, but I want to relate those 3 notes to C major. So I actually have the 4, I have the 6, and I have my first common tone here, the root or the octave, right? I have 5 notes, I'm missing 2. Now if I go to the 5 chord G major, I have the root of G, I have the 3rd of G, and I have the 5th of G. But right away the first note is a common tone, right? G is the 5th of C, so I already have the 5th. I have the major 7 and I have the 2nd or the 9 here, right? So this sound is I play in the major scale in just a different order. So for my first phrase I have this. I'm mainly playing triads, in this case root position, B major, the 1 chord, strings 1, 2, and 3, to F sharp major, the 5 chord. Here I go to the 4 chord, E major. Now the 4 chord and the 1 chord we have a common tone, in this case B, right? That's the root. So from that B I'm going to think about the scale and I'm going to go a whole step up to the 2nd note and a whole step up to the major 3rd. My second phrase goes like this. So here I'm thinking about this B major, first inversion, strings 2, 3, and 4, to this F sharp major, the 5 chord. Second inversion to this E major, the 4 chord. Second inversion, right? I'm going to start by sliding from the major 7 to the root, up the triad. And now, because I'm playing the triad melodically, this means that I can also share 2 notes per string, right? So here I have the F sharp major, second inversion, I'm going to bring the 5th 1 octave higher, and I'm going to have the 5th and the 3rd on the same string, and the root 1 string up. Right? From here I'm going to go down to E major, and I'm going to play 1 note per string. Then I'm going to catch that 5th an octave higher, and if you know something about modes, you know that the 4 chord is the Lydian mode, right? That means that we have the sharp 11 half step below, and we have the major 3rd whole step below, right? And then whole step down to the 5th of B. So I have these. My next phrase goes like this. Now the triads that I'm using: B major, root position, strings 2, 3, and 4, F sharp major, root position, strings 3, 4, and 5, E major, root position, strings 3, 4, and 5. I'm just gonna draw the triads melodically. Now for my last phrase, I'm gonna think about the B major scale, right? But I'm gonna use this shape. Now, we call it in the cage system the G shape, right? But it's also the minor scale, starting from the 6th note. How do you find that? Again, you go to the 1 chord, in this case B major, with the root on the 6th string, half step down to the 7th note, whole step down to the relative minor. I can play the minor pentatonic or the minor scale. All I need to do to make it sound major is start from the 1 chord, in this case B. So now I'm going to use some notes of the scale to create this line. I'm going to play it really slow. Let's see if you can figure it out by ear. So now here's the solo really slow.